Cryptography. In cryptography, a key is a piece of information, a parameter. It determines the functional output of a cryptographic algorithm or cipher. Without a key, the algorithm would produce no useful results. Functions of cryptography. Cryptography is used to protect email messages, credit card information, and corporate data. Classification. There are two types of cryptography: symmetric key systems, public key. Public key cryptography. Public key cryptography is also known as asymmetric cryptography. It refers to a cryptographic algorithm. It requires two separate keys, one of which is secret or private and another one is public. Advantages of public key. The main advantages of public key are simpler and faster. Private key cryptography. Symmetric encryption is also called private key encryption. It gives secret key encryption. It involves using the same key for encryption and decryption. Why need secrecy? A key is often easier to protect. It is typically a small piece of information. It happens better than an encryption algorithm. It is also easier to change if compromised. Scope of key. The keys are generated first. They are used with a given suite of algorithms. This setup is called cryptosystem. Size of key. A key length of 80 bits is generally considered. It is the minimum size for strong security. It also has symmetric encryption algorithms. 128-bit keys are commonly used and considered very strong. Key choice. To prevent a key from being guessed, keys needs to be generated. It is truly having sufficient entropy. The problem of how to safely generate truly random key is difficult. It has been addressed in many ways by various cryptographic systems. Internet protocol. The Internet protocol is a principal communications protocol. In the Internet protocol suite, the datagrams are relayed across network boundaries. It happens through routing function. It is performed by enabling Internet working and essentially establishes the Internet. Functions of IP. The IP is responsible for addressing hosts. It is also for routing datagrams from a source host to a destination host. It occurs across one or more IP networks. For this purpose, the Internet protocol defines and provides an addressing system. It has two functions: identifying hosts and providing a logical location service. Datagram. Each datagram consists of two components, a header and a payload. The IP header is tagged with the source IP address. The destination IP address and other metadata are needed to route and deliver the datagram. The payload is the data that is transported. Capacity and capability. The dynamic nature of the Internet and the diversity of its components provide no guarantee. Therefore, any particular path is actually capable or suitable for performing the data transmission requested. Reliability. Internet protocol uses the end-to-end principle in its design. Under this design, the network infrastructure is assumed in different way. It is assumed to be inherently unreliable at any single network element. Sometimes it is assumed as transmission medium and dynamic in terms of availability of links and nodes. Spoliation. The spoliation of evidence is the intentional activity. It occurs due to negligence withholding. It happens through hiding and altering of original structure. It is also destroying of evidence relevant to a legal proceeding. Learning objectives. In this lesson, you would be learning about concealment techniques and the following in detail: spoliation, secret key cryptography, public key cryptography, hash function, spoofing, Internet protocol, transmission control protocol, hijacked session attacks, polymorphism, steganography, reversing the steganographic process, counter or anti-forensics,
cloaking techniques, data hide and seek, renaming files, manipulating file systems, data hiding on NTFS.
Anti-forensics. Anti-computer forensics is a general term for a set of techniques. It is used as countermeasures to forensic analysis.
Anti-forensic tools.
In the past, anti-forensic tools have focused on attacking the forensic process. It happens by destroying data, hiding data, or altering data usage information.
Anti-forensic effectiveness.
Anti-forensic methods rely on several weaknesses in the forensic process. It includes the human element, dependency on tools. It also includes the physical or logical limitations of computers. Transmission control. The TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. It is one of the core protocols of the Internet protocol suites. It is so common that the entire suite is called TCP/IP. Connection. The TCP uses three-way connection to establish a connection-way handshake.
Synchronize. Synchronize acknowledgements. Acknowledgement.
SYN. The active open is performed by the client. It is by sending a SYN to the server. The client sets the segment sequence number to a random value A. SYN ACK. The server replies with a SYN ACK. The acknowledgement number is set to 1 more than the received sequence number, that is A plus 1, and the sequence number chooses for the packet is another random number B. ACK. Finally, the client sends an ACK back to the server. The sequence number is set to the received acknowledgement value, that is A plus 1, and the acknowledgement number is set to 1 more than the received sequence number, that is B plus 1. Data transfer. Ordered data transfer, retransmission of lost packets, flow control, congestion control. Ordered data transfer. The destination host rearranges according to the sequence number. Retransmission of any cumulative stream is not acknowledged and retransmitted. Flow control. A sender transfers data to guarantee reliable delivery. The receiver continually hints the sender on how much data can be received. It happens when the receiving host buffer fills.
Benefits. Reliable for how much data can be received.
Clocking. Clocking is a search engine optimization SEO technique in which the content presented to the search engine spider. It is different from that presented to the user's browser. Uses of cloaking. Cloaking is often used as a spamdexing technique. It is to try and trick search engines. This helps to give the relevant site a higher ranking.
Data hiding. Data hiding is the principle of segregation of the design decisions in a computer program. They are most likely to change. Thus, it protects other parts of the program from extensive modification. Renaming files. MS-DOS and Windows command line users, Microsoft Windows users, Linux and Unix users. Data hiding on NTFS. To detect and recover data hidden using each of these methods. Methodology and tools. Tools for hiding data. Runtimes Disk Explorer for NTFS version 2.31, except for alternate data streams ADS. Tools for restoring data. Windows XP, CheckDisk and FSUTIV. Windows OEM support tools NFI. SleuthKit 2.02. Foremost 0.69. Comfort 1.00. Also DD, HexEdit and strings. Master file table. Every file and every directory has at least one entry in MFT. It is including the MFT itself. Each entry in MFT is called a file record. It has a default fixed size of 1024 bytes. The first 42 bytes are reserved for MFT entry. The header and the remaining bytes are used to store. Clusters. A data unit in NFTS is called a cluster. It is the smallest disk space allocation unit. Every cluster in NTFS has a logical cluster number. LCN, starting with 0 for the first cluster. Clusters which belong to a file are also assigned a virtual cluster number. Metadata files describe the structure of the file system itself. Microsoft defined 16 standard MFT records, file numbers 0 to 15, some currently unused, reserved for the future use. Hiding data in backclass. It happens through clipping, modifying logical block number LBN to physical mapping to skip the defective sector. Remapping, reallocating LBN from defective area to a spare sector. Hiding data in data attribute. Hiding data in data attribute is possible except for directories and the extension metadata files. Except for backclass, the content used in NTFS operation, possible to append some hidden data. Data attribute is both read and written by NTFS, so the appended data could be overwritten. NTFS boot file. This is the only file with a fixed location. It always starts at the first cluster of the file system. Alternate data streams. ADS are a unique feature of NTFS file systems introduced with Windows NT 3.1, early 1990s. Compatibility between Windows NT servers and Macintosh clients which use hierarchical file system, HFS. At directory. Data attribute is unnecessary for a directory. Validation checking with check disk. When a directory contains a data attribute, the validation is possible. As a result, the data attribute in a directory can be used to hide data. Alternate data streams. ISO also be created with directories, not just data files to hide data. Hashing function. A hash function is any kind of algorithm. It maps data of arbitrary length to a data of fixed length. The values returned by a hash function are called hash valuers. The other names of hash values are hash codes, hash sums, checksums, or simply hashes. Hash tables. Hash functions are primarily used in hash tables. It quickly locates a data record and given its search key. Example, a dictionary definition. Caches. Hash functions are also used to build caches for large data sets stored in slow media. A cache is generally simpler than a hashed search table. Any collision can be resolved by discarding or writing. Bloom filters. Hash functions are an essential ingredient of the Bloom filter. A space-efficient probabilistic data structure is used to test whether an element is a member of a set. Hash value. A hash value is also called a message digest. It is a number generated from a string of text. The hash value is substantially smaller than the text itself. It is generated by the hash algorithm in such a way that same hash value is negligible. Hash function, a trivial hash function, perfect hashing, minimal perfect hashing. List of hash functions. NIST hash function competition, Pearson hashing, Zobrist hashing. Session hijacking. It is also known as cookie hijacking. The exploitation of a valid computer session, sometimes also called a session key. It is to gain unauthorized access to information or services in a computer system. Methods in hijacking. Session fixation, session sidejacking, cross-site scripting. Session fixation, where the attacker sets a user's session an ID. It is done to want to know him. For example, by sending the user an email with a link that contains a particular session ID. The attacker now only has to wait until the user logs in. Example, by sending the user an email with a link. Session sidejacking, where the attacker uses packet sniffing. It is to read network traffic between two parties. Then it helps to steal the session cookie. Cross-site scripting, where the attacker tricks the user's computer into running code. It is treated as trustworthy because it appears to be belonging to the server. Benefits. Allow the attacker to obtain a copy of the cookie. Spoofing. A spoofing attack is in the context of network security. A spoofing attack is a situation in which one person or program successfully masquerades as another. It occurs by falsifying data, then gains an illegitimate advantage. TCP/IP. Many of the protocols in the TCP/IP suite do not provide mechanisms. It will not give specific directions for authenticating the source or destination of a message. Referrer spoofing. Some websites, especially pornographic page sites, allow access to their materials only from certain approved pages. This is enforced by checking the HTTP request. This referrer header, however, can be changed, is known as referrer spoofing or referrer spoofing. File sharing networks. Spoofing can also refer to copyright holder. It happens by placing distorted or unlistenable versions of works on file sharing networks. Caller ID spoofing. Public telephone networks often provide caller ID information. It includes the caller's name and number. However, some technologies allow callers to forge caller ID information. Then, it presents false names and numbers. Email address spoofing. The sender information shown in emails can be spoofed easily. This technique is commonly used by spammers to hide the origin of their emails. It leads to problems such as misdirected bounces. Example, email spam backscatter. GPS spoofing. A GPS spoofing attack attempts to deceive a GPS receiver. It happens by broadcasting counterfeit GPS signals. They are structured to resemble a set of normal GPS signals, or it occurs by rebroadcasting genuine signals captured elsewhere or at a different time.
Polymorphism. Polymorphism is the provision of a single interface. It happens in programming languages. It occurs at different entities and types. Polymorphism described. Ad hoc polymorphism and parametric polymorphism were originally described in fundamental concepts.
In programming languages, a set of lecture notes written in 1967.
It was written by British computer scientist Christopher Trackey. Types of polymorphism: ad hoc polymorphism, parametric polymorphism, polytypism. Polytypic. A polytypic function is a more general than polymorphic, and in such a function, though one can provide fixed ad hoc cases, it happens for specific data types where an ad hoc combinatory is absent. Steganography. Steganography is the art of practice of concealing a message. It is also hides image or file. It occurs within another message, image, or file. About steganography. The word steganography of Greek origin means covered writing or concealed writing. The advantages of steganography. Welcome to the session on cyber forensics and tools. We will learn about concealment techniques in this session. Steganography advantage. It is plainly visible encrypted messages. It is no matter how unbreakable. Physical techniques. Hidden messages on messenger's body, also used in ancient Greece. Hidden messages on paper written in secret inks. It is under other messages or on the blank parts of the other messages. Digital techniques. Here, the message is concealed within the lowest bits of noisy images. Sometimes it is also concealed sound files. Hiding messages is possible by changing the order of elements in a set. Applications. Steganography is used by some modern printers. It includes HP and Xerox brand color laser printers. Methods. The following two methods are used to perform steganography: visual analysis, statistical analysis.
Conclusion. Thus, we have learnt about concealment techniques and the following in detail: spoliation, secret key cryptography, public key cryptography, hash function, spoofing, internet protocol, transmission control protocol, hijacked session attacks, polymorphism, steganography, reversing the steganographic process, counter or anti-forensics, cloaking techniques, data hide and seek, renaming files, manipulating file systems, data hiding on NTFS.